I made a commitment to shoot more YouTube videos, so I need to stick to it. Today we're going to talk about gear acquisition syndrome, a syndrome I suffer from, and how I've worked to overcome it. We're going to talk about what's in this box and why I bought it, and how I decide when to buy new gear and if it's a want versus a need. Let's get into it. Now, I'm not saying buying gear is wrong. What I'm saying is, why do you need the gear? If the gear's not solving a problem, do you just want the gear? And there's nothing wrong with wanting a gear. But over the years, I've learned I buy gear to solve problems now. What do I need? Like this 4x4. This 4x4 is solving an issue. We have the sun, it's very bright, and now it's not so bright. So for clients that want to do an outside shoot, we can do that. Are we limited on how wide our frame can be? Obviously, I can't go back here, or I can't make the camera wider, but it is solving the problem. Now, the inevitable thing about buying gear that solves problems is you usually need to buy more gear to solve the next problem. Like a 4x4. You have it here, but then you need some sort of stand to hold it so you can, actually put it up. The other thing I look at when I'm purchasing a piece of gear now versus when I started is if I need a microphone, what else do I need to make that microphone work? And in some cases, you don't need anything. Everything comes with the kit. Let's say I have the DJI Mic Mini on right now, and you don't need anything. You buy that microphone, you can plug it in, it'll plug right in. You get everything you need in that kit to make that microphone work. But the audio quality is going to suffer. It's not as good as some of the higher end mics that you could purchase. And if you feel like you need to enhance the quality of your audio, well, you're probably going to go with a boom mic. I have a boom mic here. But what do you need with a boom mic? In my instance, I have the boom mic, I have the shock mount, I have the boom pole, and then I have a C-stand holding the boom pole, and then an XLR cable running from the boom pole to the camera. So if I wanted or I needed the boom mic, I've now had to buy 4 additional pieces of gear to make that boom mic function for me. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a thing you have to consider. What's your financial situation look like for your company, or for if you're freelancing? Are you getting asked a lot about this stuff? Like, do people want you to have a boom pole? Is it something that you need to make your job function? But if you want it just to have it, not saying don't buy it, as a business decision, you might want to consider whether or not you need that. I'm sorry, my AC's been running in the back the entire time. It is so hot outside. The other reason you might buy gear, what a transition. Now, the other, outside of quality improvement, which is usually the need that I'm trying to satisfy, except for what's in that box. Well, it is a quality enhancement for sure, but it's a situational. I run into a situation that I did not have the gear to capably handle without fixing it in post, which I don't usually like to do. But the other reason is, what are your clients asking for? Are they asking for something that you might not have, and that will ensure that they continue to work with you? Let's talk about another piece of gear that I bought that was more of a client request than it was I thought I needed it. It's helpful. I can tell you it's been helpful in shooting videos when I'm all by myself. I think that I'm in focus. And it does look like I'm getting audio signal. Well, this is it. A wireless video transmitter. And I looked at them for a long time. And what I found was the affordable option that would do everything I wanted to do was the DJI transmission system. Now, I had a client want to be able to see their video from other rooms. We were recording a podcast series, and the room was very small, and they wanted a video transmission system to be able to basically to be able to see. They had several people that wanted to watch just to make sure everything was the way that they wanted it to be. And while it's very common in what I would say a lot of YouTube videos, I've never had a client request this on set. And this is a client that is contracted with us for several years. But I knew that it was something I was going to need to invest in to keep the client satisfied and to make sure that we have something that can do some of this. Now, the DJI transmission system has been great for me. It transmits one signal, HDMI. You can do SDI too, but for everything that I'm doing, like I have my Shinobi monitor here and I can see myself. So for YouTube right now, like very useful. But this was a need, in my opinion. I could have run an HDMI cable, but how long of an HDMI cable was I going to need? Did they want to be on like 3 rooms apart? There were unknowns with what they wanted. Now that I bought this and we've been using this, almost every shoot that we do with them now, they want a wireless video feed. They like it. They like that they can sit outside of the room, not be invasive to the talent or the interviewee or whatever we're doing, and they can see what they want. Something that I want to get is a bigger production monitor. I don't have a production monitor. I just use these like a Shinobi, or I have a small HD. Is that what they're called? Small HD, whatever it is. I have those, but I want one that takes multiple video signals. I don't want to have 5 video monitors to record. Well, not 5. 5 is an exaggeration, but if we're shooting a 3 camera setup, I don't want 3 separate monitors for 3 separate cameras. And that leads me to looking, and right now I want to get the Sumo, because the Sumo takes 4 video signals in. But I haven't had a need for it yet. There hasn't been a reason to go out and actually buy it. So I look at it, and maybe when a shoot comes up that we say, hey, we really do need this for this shoot, then I'll buy it. And the caveat to all this really is that you can rent a lot of this stuff. Now, I don't rent a lot of gear. I live near Philly and there's rental houses in Philly, but the size of productions that I'm on and that I do with 2 or 3 people on set, like we're not in that realm of like needing to rent a bunch of stuff and doing this. And our clients aren't wanting to pay that much money. Like renting doesn't make sense for me where I'm at. And I will reiterate this, while I have a lot of gear that I bought that I wanted, a lot of that gear sits on a shelf in a closet, or some of it sits in the back of the van and it doesn't get used ever. But things that I buy that I need really do make a difference. Another example is the Amaran F22C. I needed a light that could take a V-mount battery and that was light and that could strap onto somebody and we could shoot stuff quick. We bought that. I always say we, but I bought that light in response to an end of the year video that we were shooting for a company, and we wanted to go to a lot of places and do a lot of things, and we had high aspirations for what this video was going to be. And when you're lugging around C-stands, like you have all this gear with you, but you just need this one shot. It's a lot easier to have a light that's capable of doing that if you have to light it, or maybe use a 4x4, or clients' needs are really all over the board, and you're just trying to deliver a really good product to them and work within their budget and deliver. Like, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I started Pushplay Productions to not charge $1 million, or in a real world example, like $100,000 to shoot a commercial, there's a bunch of small companies, small, medium-sized companies that don't necessarily have that sort of budget to do that, but they want high quality stuff. And that's where I try to fit Push Play Productions into. So we buy the gear that we need. Again, I'm saying I buy the gear that I need to do that. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody has a different opinion. But that's just what I see as the best thing for me is navigating the want versus need. And it's a lesson that you're taught when you're a kid is like, what do you want versus what do you need? And when you're running a business, it really is what do you want and what do you need? There's early years of Push Play Productions. We had almost no money because we kept buying gear that I wanted. Again, with I bought gear that I wanted. And probably the last 2 years, I bought a lot less gear and have only bought gear that I feel like I needed. C400. I could have bought a C80. This was a want and need kind of thing. But I needed a third cinema camera. The R6 wasn't cutting it anymore. We were shooting longer than 30-minute takes. We were doing a lot of conferences. We needed cameras that stayed on. And yeah, I could have jumped over to Sony. Sony has a lot of cameras that don't have record limits. But I've been invested in the Canon line since I started this company, and I wasn't going to rearrange the whole thing. Instead, I just bought a camera that I knew was going, well, I didn't know, but had a high likelihood was going to be a good camera, and it offered better quality. So here we are with the C400 because the company needed it. What's the next thing that I'll need? Let's go open the box and find out. I don't know if I'm going to leave all that in. So now I'm just going to say, let's go open the box and find out what I needed to solve a problem. So what is in this box that I needed? Well, I had a shoot come up where we had to shoot outside. That's not uncommon, but what is uncommon is how loud it was. And we had some wind noise, and we put windscreens on, and we thought it was going to be fine. And for the most part, it was fine. But we could have alleviated the large majority of that problem by using one of these. So we bought this because we needed it. Or I bought it because I needed it. Or I think that I need it because I've run into a situation where I didn't have it, and it probably would have helped. And now I will anticipate that in the future I will run into a similar problem in which I need something like this. It is a Rode blimp. Now, what you've been hearing so far has been an M46, MH46, MK416. So we're gonna switch this over and we're gonna see if this sounds better. It basically makes a dead space of air inside of this. It blocks some minor wind noise out. We don't have a lot of wind here right now, but there is some wind. So we're gonna try it and see what it sounds like. All right, so this is the old, well, not old, this is just what we usually use. We usually put this on the Sennheiser, and now you're hearing it from the blimp. I'm most interested to hear if it changes the audio sound. You're gonna hear it for the first time basically as I am when I go to edit this video. And so the moral of the story is I buy gear now when I need something. There's a lot of things that I want. I would love to get a Sackler tripod, but I haven't bought one yet. I still use my Manfrotto 504B or whatever they're called. But when I decide that I need something, then I'll buy it, and it has saved me a lot of money. So if you're looking at something and you want to purchase it, just ask yourself, is it something that you want or is it something that you need? Is it going to solve a problem for you, or is it just to make yourself look cool as a filmmaker or a videographer or whatever you want to call it? I don't get into the conversation of what's the difference between a filmmaker and a videographer and a cinematographer. I probably classify myself as a videographer. I've never made a movie. I don't have anything on my schedule to say that I'm going to be making a movie anytime soon either. So buy what you can afford. Buy it when you need it. Save yourself a lot of money, because I have a van and a garage full of gear that I don't really use all that frequently, at least. Okay, bye.